Hello guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. This week's episode is going to be, this week's video I should say, is going to be on how to minimize hunger when you're in a fat loss phase. So the first thing I'd say is, when you are in a deficit, some bit of hunger is probably to be expected, but you shouldn't be absolutely ravenous is what I would say. You should be able to, cope, and hopefully after watching this video, you'll be able to take away some of these tips and make the whole dieting process that bit easier. So I've got, I think, 7 tips in total, and if you make it to the end, there is a free giveaway, so yeah, stay tuned for that. So tip number 1 is to increase your protein. So protein will not only improve your body composition, it will also help keep you full in a fat loss phase. So it is the most filling macronutrient, so it's more filling than carbohydrates and fats. And generally what I would often advise clients to do is to aim for a 30-gram serving per meal. So people would typically start off in a fat loss phase and maybe think, okay, I'm going to be really healthy this morning, I'm going to have my bowl of porridge, and they throw in their fruit, their seeds, their nuts, whatever. Very healthy breakfast, but it doesn't have a protein source. So in that case they're going to have that bowl of porridge and maybe be hungry again in an hour and a half's time, whatever. That won't keep them going to lunchtime, and they're more likely to be snacking maybe in the office until they get their next lunch or their next meal, if you like. So what I would do in the example of the porridge there is I would add in either scoop away protein powder to it, or maybe some Greek yogurt. We're taking the Greek yogurt, again, to make sure we're hitting the 30-gram threshold, if you like. We want to make sure we're getting a decent serving, so it's not just putting in 1 tablespoon of it. You want to be adding in a good, probably 200 grams of, like I'd say, 0% Greek yogurt is a pretty good one. Or you could have any amount of the protein yogurts or protein buttons that are available on all the supermarket shelves these days. So doing that will keep you full and will make a big difference. So if you aim for 30 grams per meal, you'll be in a good spot. Make sure you prioritize your lean sources. So chicken here over duck. I know not too many people have duck very frequently, but while it is a good protein source, it's quite high in fat as well. So for us to get say 30 grams of protein from, say, a chicken fillet would probably cost us around maybe, probably say 160 calories, give or take, potentially. Whereas for the likes of the duck, it could be double that at least. And then the knock-on effect of that would be, like, we've got 160 calories less that we can't use maybe for potatoes or something else we could add to that meal. So always prioritize your lean sources. So your 0% Greek yogurt, whey protein powder, chicken breast, turkey breast, cod, egg whites, etc. They're all going to be your best bets. And in general, you should probably aim for 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. And again, I wouldn't be afraid to scale this up if you find that this wasn't keeping you full. So yeah, protein is definitely number 1. The next one is increase your fiber, and this is something that people really sleep on when it comes to their health in general. You want to aim for around 20 to 30 grams plus of fiber. So again, that's your fruit and veg, your whole grains, etc. It's low in calorie, high in volume. So if you take, for example, one of my go-to breakfasts, or my only go-to breakfast in a fat loss phase typically, is an omelette. And I eat eggs all year round. If I'm in a gaining phase, which I am in a minute, my breakfast is, say, typically 4 eggs and maybe 2 slices of toast with a mandarin. So I'm getting the 30 grams of protein in that meal. I'm also getting the serving of fiber in the orange. But if I was in a fat loss phase and I still wanted to make sure that I was getting the 30 grams of protein, but I wanted to increase the fiber further in that, maybe I would drop one of the yolks in the omelette and maybe go for 3 whole eggs, 1 egg white. That way I'm still keeping the protein high, but I would increase the fiber. So maybe add into the omelette, say, mixed peppers, mushrooms, onions, whatever, spinach, and that's going to, like, yes, it'll increase the calories, but very slightly, but it's going to add way more volume to the plate, which is going to mean there's more food in my stomach, which will mean I'm fuller. So that goes for your dinners as well. Like, if you can add in a good serving of veg with all of your meals or all of your dinners, it's just going to leave you in a much better place. So yeah, in your meals typically, if you have 30 grams of protein and if you have say a serving of fruit or veg, you're going to be in a very good place. So yeah, those are the first few tips. Okay, so tip number 3 is drink more water. Sounds very obvious, but very often we might feel we're hungry when really we're just potentially dehydrated. So as a general rule of thumb, for every 1 litre, or for every 25 kilos of body weight, you want to drink 1 litre. So I am 75 kilos at the minute, give or take. So I'd want to be taking over 3 litres per day. If you are someone who is very active and you're, you know, maybe doing an hour of exercise every day, I would probably add an extra litre on top of that nearly. And most people would really struggle to hit that amount. So I've got some tips here to help you, which might make it easier. So a pint in the morning, I would say, I've done that now for the last number of years, where I would probably have 2 pints really. I will drink a pint, I'll down that first thing, and then when I am to start my first work block, I'll be drinking my coffee while sipping my second pint. And it basically means the time I come down to have my breakfast, and after that, which is normally an hour and a half after that, I have 2 pints in me, which is a long way towards my overall target for the day. And I suppose after your night's sleep, like, you're probably going to be at your most dehydrated first thing in the morning, because obviously you won't drink any fluids. So getting some water in there straight away is going to rehydrate you and go a long way towards hitting your target. Have a bottle beside you. So if I had a bag of sweets at this desk here beside me most days doing work, it's really natural I would be picking at them. Whereas if I have a bottle in front of me of water, it's a constant reminder to sip at it. So make sure you have one beside you, and that'll remind you. You can also use some of those bottles that have like the times on it, so it's in right by 3 p.m. or by 5 p.m. here. Just give it an extra nudge. Use cordials or flavoured waters. So sometimes people mightn't like the taste of it, so if you add in a little bit of squash, whatever, it might make it easier for you to get it down. And then decaf teas. So caffeine will typically dehydrate you. Now in saying that, if you take like a cup of coffee, for example, the water that you put into the coffee is going to neutralize it, if that makes sense. So it's sort of like a neutral effect on your hydration levels. But if you go for a decaf tea or some of those like fruit teas, for example, that's going to, there's going to be no caffeine there to dehydrate you in the first place. So that can be an easy way of getting some into you. Tip number 4, caffeine. So use teas and coffees to help you blunt the hunger. Now, if you're in a fat loss phase, and this I think is my next point that I mentioned, you don't want to be wasting calories on like a latte, for example, or some of those really high calorie coffees. Stick to your Americanos or your skinny flat whites if you can. Typically for coffee, I would try and maybe not have more than, I would say 3 per day. Probably should be a bit less now, but that 3 is where I'm at the minute, so don't be a hypocrite. But yeah, if you're going for 3 per day and try and have your last one, I'd say a good 8 to 10 hours before you are planning to go to sleep, because there'll still be caffeine in your system if you have any later. Sugar-free drinks, so the likes of your Coke Zeros, Club Orange Zero, 7-Up Free, whatever the case is, they can be really, really effective, and they're totally safe despite what you might see online. What I would typically do in a fat loss phase is I will have clear meal times, which again is one of the points coming later on. And if I know, right, my dinner's coming at 6, but we have a hunger pang come over me here now at 5 o'clock, I might take like a Coke Zero. That'll help blunt the hunger and time me over till I get my meal. So yeah, they can be very, very effective. On now to point number 5. Okay, so point number 5, guys, is be a tight arse. You might think, what do I mean by this? The handiest way to think of your calories nearly is your budget for the day. And you have to work out, right, how am I going to make this spread over the course of it so that I'm not overly hungry, essentially. So you want to choose foods that are filling but quite low in calorie. So a very good example of that is the potato, the king or queen, whatever you want to look at it, of diet foods really, along with your protein. To give an example, in 100 grams of, say, uncooked potato, there's 75 calories, give or take. In 100 grams of uncooked pasta, there's 360, give or take. So an absolutely massive difference there in those ones. Potatoes are very filling, very, very low in calorie, whereas pasta, I know my own experience anyway, you never have it and feel really full. Plus it's a good chunk of your budget gone. Even things as well, like if you're trying to reduce your calories, look at things that are quite high, but they're not potentially contributing to your fullness. So the likes of your butter, if you take a lot of butter on your toast in the morning, that could be 100 calories there. If you're putting some in your sandwich as well at lunchtime, that's 200 calories. 200 calories in something that's just flavouring your meals probably isn't a great exchange. Even the likes of your mayo or your coleslaw on the sandwiches, your high calories or creamy sauces at dinner, I would definitely look and see if we swap them out. So for the likes of the butter, maybe swap into a low calorie spread. For the likes of your, say, creamy sauces, maybe swapping out for like a lower calorie sauce, like a hot sauce or sriracha or something like that. I always think about this and go, right, well, if I know potatoes are the most filling food, if I'm, say, putting 100 calories worth of butter on my toast, I always think, right, for 100 calories, what could I get instead there later on? That works out as roughly maybe 150 grams of potatoes. Now what's going to keep me fuller? The spread of toast or butter on my toast in the morning, or an extra 150 grams of potatoes at dinner? It's always going to be the potatoes, so think about that. So made a mistake here. So low volume, high calorie foods, you want to avoid them if you can. So the likes of your nuts, while they are very healthy, you can easily consume hundreds of calories in just a handful if you like. So be really mindful of them. Oils, the easiest swap you can make in your fat loss phase is swapping out the olive oil for the 1 cal spray. Again, a tablespoon give or take of olive oil, 120 calories. And again, like how many spoons should you get for that is the way I'd be thinking about it. So the likes of that, even likes of say sweets, again, if you can fit them in your calories, not a problem, but they can really eat into your budget and won't leave you feeling overly full. So yeah, be a tight arse. Things like, the next one is your meal times. So be really clear on that. I think in general, if you have regular meal times and you spread them throughout the day, it does make the whole fat loss process easier. For me, I would tend to eat at the same time every day. So maybe say breakfast normally at 8 o'clock, give or take. They're always in around 30 minutes of each other, say. So 8 a.m., 12 a.m., say midday, 4 p.m., 8 p.m. And it just means then, like, if I have my breakfast at 8 and I know, right, my next meal's coming at 12, if a hunger pang comes over me at 11, I just think it's easier to manage knowing that, okay, I just have another hour here to wait, so maybe in the meantime I get a coffee or a Coke Zero to time me over. Whereas if you go into a day and you don't have clear meal times and you're hungry at 11, you might say, okay, well, I'll have like a snack now, maybe a purple snack, whatever, that's 115 calories. Doesn't really keep you overly full. But then that can sort of mess up then your next meal after that, as in, okay, well, if I've had the 100 calories on the chocolate that didn't really stand to me, I now have to reduce my lunch by 100 calories to sort of balance the books, then that can have a knock-on effect then on the next meal. So it can be a wee bit messy. So get clear on your meal times and be strategic with that. Now be strategic, to elaborate further on that point, if you find that in the morning you're not overly hungry, don't feel you have to eat breakfast just for the sake of it. Like, skip that first meal, push it out until the hunger does come over you, and then again make sure it has the 30 grams of protein and the serving of colour that we spoke about earlier. A lot of people will try and be healthy, feel like, or think they're doing a good thing by having their first meal as soon as they wake up, even though they're not hungry. And what that means then is, by them having, say, the 450 calorie breakfast when they weren't really hungry, they're losing out then on 450 calories later on in the day, potentially when they might have used them more. So my mother, for example, and hopefully she's watching this, she will typically not have her first meal until maybe it could be 1 or 2 o'clock in the day. Not because of any magical fasting benefits, just purely she's not hungry in the morning and she can get by with a couple of coffees between waking up and the first meal. And it just means then that she has more calories in for later on in the evening when she might want them more. So be strategic. I know for me personally, I'm not one of those people that can skip breakfast, but I can get by maybe with a 2-hour gap between waking and having it. But I hate going to bed hungry. So what I normally do in a fat loss phase is have my last meal relatively late. And it just means then that, okay, it mightn't be the most optimum for my sleep necessarily, but it means then that I know, right, when I get this meal at 8 o'clock, I'm good for the night. Whereas if I have my dinner maybe at 6, for example, I know I potentially be hungry come 9:30, 10 o'clock, which just means that I might be into the craving then to go for a snack or something that might push me over budget. So basically save the calories for when you might want the most, if that makes sense. But you can't go wrong with having clear times established for yourself and keeping them fairly evenly spaced. So yeah, I think we have 2 more points here to go through. Okay guys, so point number 7 is actually the last tip that I have for you. So sleep sounds extremely obvious, but when you are underslept, life in general, never mind fat loss, becomes so much more difficult. Your hunger hormones of leptin and ghrelin will be skewed, which means you will be hungrier and less likely to stay full. So it's definitely, if you're underslept, fat loss is on hard mode big time. So in general, you want to aim for 7 to 8 hours per night if you can. If you feel that, right, maybe I'm not getting that during the week, you can maybe look at saying, right, for the weekend, can I maybe get rid of some of that sleep debt if I can, but I think where possible, try and do that every night. Develop a sleep routine. This is so important. So what I would do there, first of all, is I would set a bedtime alarm. Got this from James Smith a number of years ago. I thought it was an absolute game changer. So we all have an alarm to help get us up in the morning, but none of us, or very few of us anyway, would have one for the evening time. And like, we can have the best intention to go into bed, at a good time every evening, but maybe we're watching something on Netflix and we're sort of engrossed in it, and we end up finding it difficult then to pull ourselves away, even though we know we should, and get to bed early. Whereas if you have the alarm, it gives you that extra nudge to go, right, you said you were going to go to bed early tonight, so are you going to do it or not? And you either, ignore that alarm then and you continue watching, or you say, right, you know what, I'll think of future me here and I'll get up to bed. So setting the alarm is really important. But so too then is your actual sleep routine. So when that alarm goes off, you either go straight to bed, or you can say, right, I'm going to start the bedtime ritual here. And that ritual can be, say, taking a hot bath or a hot shower. That can help basically raise your body temperature. Your body's then forced to try and lower that, which can help leave you feeling a wee bit sleepy. You can go for sleepy tea, for example. You can maybe do a bit of reading for 10 minutes. All those things can definitely help. And then when you're going to bed, if you like, you want to make it resemble a cave, if that makes sense. So dark, cool, and quiet. So I'm not telling people to go out now and get blackout blinds, but try and keep it dark if you can. And yeah, you don't want it too hot because it'll be harder than switch off. And obviously then don't be on your phone too late. And yeah, all those sort of simple things can make a big difference. And then when you get up, try and get sunlight in your eyes, say within an hour or so of waking. That will regulate your circadian rhythm, and yeah, will just make the sleep quality improve also. So yeah, the last tip was sleep. So if you got this far, guys, and you feel okay, well, I've got some tips there now to help me on my fat loss journey and make the managing hunger aspect of it easier. In the description, so I'll put it down there below. If you hit the link there, you can avail of 4 weeks of free coaching with myself. So we'll give you an idea of what I suppose one-to-one looks like with me. But basically over the course of the 4 weeks, you'll receive an email and a video tutorial every week. Basically going through the ins and outs of weight loss. So if you're looking to lose your first, say, 5 pounds, give or take, that would be I think a good target in the first month. Then yeah, it's definitely for you. So yeah, if you hit the link below and enter in your email address, then you'll receive that first email from me. You'll have access to my one-to-one coaching app as well. So yeah, everything will be set up for you. There'll be more info in the description as to what else is involved. So yeah, don't miss out on that if you're looking to drop 5 pounds before the summer. So yeah, that wraps up this week's video, guys. As always, hopefully you found it useful. If you could share the video with your friends or family or whoever you might think would find it useful, that'd be much appreciated. If you are interested in one-to-one coaching, then you can just contact me on Instagram or Facebook. I don't think you can message on YouTube, but look, if you can do it, then I'm sure I'll get the notification. And if there's any other topics you want me to cover, if you can comment them below, I will be sure to get cracking on that. And don't forget to subscribe. I knew it's something else to say, so make sure you do that too. So yeah, enjoy this video, guys, or hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll chat in the next one.